Jeff, it's good to see you again. I think we were just talking. This is our fifth year of doing these amazing videos. How about that? Um, it's a new year. It's 2025, and I think at this time of year, it's always good to think about, how do we set the table for a great year? It's Q1. There's some table setting that goes into that, but also like, what are your big predictions for 2025 for the state of sales? What are your thoughts?
Sure. Yeah. So I think a thought about something that will happen this year that is very topical. A lot of people are always talking about AI and sales. It seems like it's been the topic du jour for the last couple of years. Obviously, I'd written a book, 4 or 5 years ago, predicting that AI would enter the world of sales. You need to lean into what makes you human. Um, and I think that there's going to be a trend where we move from what I would call the sexy to the practical in the world of AI. So I think a lot of the initial use cases you saw for AI were things that were oftentimes a little bit superfluous and not necessarily super practical. They were, things that were kind of cool. Maybe you could do some sort of personalization in a cold email about somebody, and that seemed cool at the time that you could automate knowing something about somebody. But I think as I posted on LinkedIn earlier today, I think that's actually becoming commoditized as well,
Yeah.
because if everybody starts doing that, then there's actually nothing that's unique about the personalization. And so where I think a lot of the AI tools will go is more down the path of helping in a very practical way. So what I mean by that is, in theory, you have all this data about all of your phone calls, which conversational AI tools that can be integrated into your CRM, and with enough information about what deals have been, good or bad in the past. In theory, you could start to build a rubric or a framework to give you like a real-time coaching in a deal based on what's going on, based on historical data, to start, telling sales reps what to do, or to identify risk in deals, right? That's a very practical use case of AI. It's not sexy because it's not customer facing, right? But it's an internal use of AI that I think is very interesting for a lot of companies to help optimize their operations. It's not even really automating anything. It's really just kind of giving you better insights, right? So I think a lot of times people are thinking about AI through the lens of something really cool or sexy, or automation, or something that reduces time spent. There's actually ways that we can become better sellers that have nothing to do with that, that are internally based. And so I think we're going to see more of that. I don't know if I'd say the death of the AI SDR. I think the AI SDR will just get a little bit smarter. I think the AI SDR is going to have to be forced to evolve to be a little bit more two-sided. It's going to need to know something about you and your buyer, and it's going to need to be able to link those things together in a meaningful way. So that's where I think we're going to see a jump there. I think we're going to start seeing tools get eliminated from the field because they're just not useful, and it's going to force some of these companies to evolve and to being a lot more practical in nature. So that's going to be my bold prediction for 2025. Would love to kick it over to you and see, do you have the same one, or you have a different prediction?
Yeah, man, you heard it here. Jeff Kerchick's predictions for 2025. When I think about this, Jeff, I'd be remiss not to bring up AI in some fashion. And I think what's interesting is, you look at sales, and it's almost like sometimes it's like a pendulum swing, right? I mean, we drastically go to one side, and AI is being integrated into so much of what we do. I agree with you in that, and I'll take it even a step further. I think we're going to continue to see it and how we can interact with it in real time, as a salesperson. Like, what's fascinating to me is, and actually I had a colleague of mine tell me this, and I've started tinkering with it on customer calls. In a call specifically that is being recorded, where you've got your AI engine, in my case, Copilot, running, I can ask the I can ask Copilot in real time to summarize the last 30 minutes, 30 seconds, minute, whatever the case may be. Give me personalized offers. I think back to when I was in a call center years ago, and when I started, it was very, we had disparate systems that we were entering things into. As integration became more prevalent in that environment, there started to be offers that would be forced up in a tool. You had to ask questions to arrive at the answers for these, and as a seller, I had to input these in. AI takes away the forced necessity, especially on a recorded call, of doing a lot of this. We would be able to analyze the conversation in real time and push offers to a seller, taking out a lot of the guesswork. And so I think where we're going to continue to see AI, to your point, it's going to be further integrated into all of our routines, our processes. Automation will continue to happen and it will continue to be very prevalent. But I think where it's going to force the needle from a sales perspective is it's going to do a couple of things. One, it's going to be very commonplace to be in practically or behind the scenes in practically everything that we're doing, especially on a virtual call. On the flip side of that, I think it's going to continue because you're continuing to see more, and we predicted this last year. This was predicted by everybody last year. You're going to continue to see more and more of these personalized emails that, you or I or anybody, any business decision maker can get this email and can, it sounds like it was written directly for you. We've talked about that on a prior show. It'll say, hey, Jeff, I see you went to Princeton and, make some very personalized statement. That's going to be easy for AI to do. What I think that is going to force is because there's so much noise being created by that ability, is it's actually going to re-up the value of the face-to-face, of the cold call, of the, actual personalized reach out with a video, some of the ability to actually connect more creatively amidst that sea. I think about the last several years and what really helped me with social selling was doing what AI is technically doing right now. Is I was going through and doing that legwork, planting those seeds so that I had a higher probability of success, creating that personalized message. Now AI can do it for me. So I think the really great sellers are leaning into what AI can do for them and, getting to information quicker, reaching out to people quicker. It's Q1. And I'd love to get your thoughts too on like what should sellers be doing? What should sales leaders be doing right now? I'm a big believer right now in, I've got a quote that I live and die by, and it's, before you feast, you've got to set the table. And so, I meticulously study like what worked last year that I really want to double down on. What didn't work that maybe I can tweak a little bit or optimize. And then also, what do I want to achieve this year? And what are the key relationships that I'm going to need in order to be successful? I need to go out and get those relationships. And getting those relationships isn't a guarantee. There are ways that I'm incorporating AI and automation into, going out and finding the people that I want to connect with, finding people that perhaps are in their sphere of influence, and then going out and creating those conversations with messaging that would ideally prompt them to want to talk to me. Where do I think I can add some value? And so, I've shared before, I have what I call a Moneyball approach, very data driven, mapping out the customers, the total addressable market, really understanding what that looks like. What are the key relationships that I'm going to need? And if I need 5 or 10 relationships out of one organization, I'm reaching out to 100 people or more. So I think the key element is, who am I reaching out to? What am I going to say? And then tweaking and pivoting along the way based on what responses you're getting. Because ultimately, I take a very counterintuitive approach. I infuse the reasons why people don't want to talk to me into my outreach so I can almost start overcoming some of their initial objections before I even get them. And that's where I think all of it converges with our predictions for 2025 because a lot of these things now it's in the prompts, it's in the data. You've got to know what you're looking for. And you can ask the AI just about anything. I'm getting told this as a, introductory objection. Get past that. Help me write a mail to customers that is going to have optimal open rates. I'll tinker with that. But the AI response is never absolute. I don't use exactly what I get from the AI. I'll tinker with it a little bit myself based on experience. And I think that's the key thing. I'll close with saying this. I go back to, it's funny, I'm a huge James Bond fan. I've made no qualms about hiding that. In the movie Skyfall, when Bond is, he's aging and he's been in the field for a long time and he meets the new Q. And basically, Q is a young, hotshot computer wizard. And, Bond says something along the lines, what do you need me for if, you can just do whatever you want from your laptop? And Q says, well, sometimes, a trigger has to be pulled. And then Bond says, or not pulled. It's important to know the difference. And so I think you're seeing this perfect convergence of the strong field seller that knows what they need and is resourceful and scrappy and relationship focused. And the savvy, smart seller is going to figure out how to best adopt the AI and the technology so that they can have all the data at their fingertips that they need, reach out to the right people with the right message, do it at scale, and really master the probability game. Whoever does that best is going to win this year. What
Yeah.
are your thoughts?
No, I agree with that 100%. I think, and I think it's important for sales leaders to, you asked a question earlier about like what should they be doing. I think it's actually important for them to resist the shiny objects and to resist the urge to look at all these really cool things. I think it's really important to stay grounded and focused on what are the actual business problems that I need to solve or business challenges. Just keep it with maybe with a lens that things that with the thinking that maybe things that you might have thought were once impossible might now be possible. So
Mm,
think with a very open mind, like if I could wave a magic wand, what would I want to do to fix some things in my sales organization, and then go out and find the solutions. They might exist, but resist the urge to just go look at every new thing because there's a million of them out there.
powerful. What I love about these conversations is that I think sometimes we go off the beaten path too. I've read a lot of these predictions for 2025 and they can sound very redundant. I don't think this does. I agree with your assessment wholeheartedly. And now's a critical time. If you want to sell something this year, you should probably start those conversations now unless you have a very, very short sales cycle. The pipeline is life. Pipe is life. Like Jeb Blunt likes to say, we need to be going out right now and creating those conversations in Q1, full court press because come Q3, Q4, you really got to start solidifying what's viable for this year and knock it down as opposed to being in full prospecting mode. So I put on my hunter hat right now and I'm full guns a-blazing going out and creating the relationships that I'm going to need to do what I need to do this year. And there's no such thing as too much pipeline.
Yeah, I can never have enough. I agree.
Here, here. All right. Well, happy New Year to you, Jeff, and to everyone out there. And let's make 2025 one to remember.
Yeah, agreed. Thanks, Carson.
See you next time.